Welcome to an early first look of Unity of Command 2's new DLC, Barbarossa. We're actually going to be playing one of the scenarios, and there are many in this DLC. Suffice it to say, I'm not allowed to show you all of them right now, but I will be playing one of them called Mitte. This is, of course, focusing on the army group center of the German army here in Barbarossa. So we're going to jump right in and see exactly what we have in store for us here. I am going to just jump over that save game, checking out the battle beforehand, as a proper general will do. And of course, now we just want to see what the objective is going to be. As you can see, the main focal point of Operation Barbarossa lies within the German Army Group Center. With a panzer group placed on each side of an enemy bulge centered on Bialystok, the scene is set for a grand encirclement. And it's telling us that what we should do is use panzer groups 2 and 3 to essentially cut the enemy off, and then use our infantry to destroy any of the enemies in the pockets. Obviously, the main goal is going to be Minsk and, of course, Bialystok. And if you do enjoy these Unity of Command 2 battles, do keep in mind we've got quite a few here on the channel, so just type in Unity of Command 2, Agrippa Maxenius, and you can check those out as well. Well, without further ado, let's get to it. We got a few bridges to cross for sure, and I think that's probably where my initial focus is going to be, is trying to get across these bridges. We want to go ahead and okay our deployment here. Oh, we've got some trucks available. Hold on one second, folks. In this case, one there, one there. You know, I am going to wait on the trucks because I still don't know where I want to dedicate these forces. So let's just wait a bit, get out of supply view, and proceed with the turn. Here we go, guys. I hope we get the first strike. I think you automatically get the first strike in this game, but who knows? And, of course, now we need to decide what we want to do. Now, over here by Grodno, it does look like we might be able to push our units through this awful swamp area here and maybe take that, maybe descend from the north on Bialystok. I'm certainly going to try it. And over here, we've got to keep our eye out for all of the different things that we have. We've got air attacks, we've got flying artillery attacks, and I definitely want to focus on that Soviet unit here. So I'm going to go ahead, hit him as much as possible. Alright, now we got the sound on. I knew something was wrong, and we are going to push forward, guys. We might be pushing through a swamp here, but look at the damage we can do to the enemy tank. Definitely going to take advantage of that. I'm even going to try to push forward with my infantry here. We've taken some prisoners. And look at that. I love how the men actually aim at the enemy. Just such a nice added level of realism here. And pretty much anywhere we have an enemy weak point, I'm going to make a push. First, though, let's get across here with the tanks. I really do want to lessen damage to our infantry, although actually the logic should be the opposite. We should be trying to lessen damage to our tank units. Let's push on through. We're just going to extend this front, as it were. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the gaps. We could potentially actually just go ahead and push through here. Let's see where this tank can go. Again, the bridges are going to be a problem for sure. But as long as we can start getting through in these areas, we do stand a chance. This is quite a large scenario for the game, so of course most of the scenarios focus on just one single battle, whereas this really focuses on quite a few, well, just the movement of Army Group Center periods. So this is going to be just 10 turns, but a whole lot of action in those 10 turns, and a whole lot of necessary moves if we want to get a victory. Now, I want to jump across here and get this guy. Pretty much any chance I have at cutting off the enemy over here or damaging him, I am going to take it. We've also got some armored units here that could be very useful. So what I'm going to do with him is just do some suppressive fire. We don't currently have suppressive fire available. Oh, that was unintentional. Let's take a look. So this is just going to be a feint attack. Essentially just trying to kind of scare the enemy. But a lot of our units, they're not exactly elite units, so they can't really do much in regards to attacking this dug-in, entrenched Soviet infantry. We've really got to use our more elite units to do that. Oh boy. Trying to get straight through Lomza. wonder if they have some sort of supply depot here. I don't think so, though. I think their only supply depot is going to be Bialystok. And we have breached. That's what I'm talking about. Following up to try to take prisoners. And one more follow-up. We could get an actual kill here. Although we are starting to see Soviet armor. Let's be careful. But with that overrun, I think we get an additional attack. Absolutely wonderful. We'll also take a look at our supplies, guys, to see how we're faring here. I'm also going to be using the flying artillery against that tank. Because that gives us a chance to do quite a bit of damage here. Wonderful. So we can get another tank over here. Good enough. I was initially thinking of pushing through, but I see how much damage they're actually taking, and I'm thinking it's better to just continue the attack before going to Alitos. And of course, as always, if we just select our Panzer group, this shows essentially what our general here controls. We've got a few army groups here, but this is important. So if you want to do any special attacks, suppressive fire, bring in emergency supply, then we have to jump to this general screen. But that's pretty typical for anybody that's already played Unity of Command 2. You're going to be used to that. Just trying to see if there's any other breakthrough possibilities here. Keep in mind, I mean, Minsk is another city we have to take. So proceeding along over here is probably not such a bad idea. Take a few prisoners, why not? And I am going to engage with the armored group. In fact, I'll follow up with this one. I was trying to get a second attack. Doesn't look like that's going to happen for us, though. And what about an assault on these infantry units over here? It's a possibility. The thing I'm worried about are the enemy infantry units over here bulging out. So let's keep them in check. And proceed forth. Just so many different units that we can use for this particular mission. It's amazing. So we're going to bring forward all of these motorized units, and they should be able to turn the tide, at least allow us to get behind the enemy and really start causing some damage, wreaking some havoc, as they say. That. Don't mind if I do. Completely overran the enemy there. Wanted to try to cut off that road, but it looks like we're gonna have to wait until next turn. All right, let's turn it over to Ivan. Yeah, that's right. We should take a look at the supply chain here, just see how it's getting along. So some of the units over here, those little red dots, they will not be getting supply. Even here, supply is relatively weak, but there's not much we can do about this. I'm gonna go ahead and see how it does, essentially. Here we go, folks. I think we're still going to be getting decent supply on that main front, but worst case scenario, we can always use those emergency supply buttons. I'm just hoping it doesn't come down to that. Oh, we've got a Soviet counterattack here. Some aggressive AI. Not bad. Trying to completely stop this bulge from happening. Can't say I blame them, and they're doing a pretty good job, but this also gives us an opportunity to destroy these tank groups quickly. I don't want them threatening our men in future operations. That would be just unacceptable. Alright, so as far as the supply situation, not too bad at all. Really not too bad at all. Now, I'm thinking of pushing through, but there's no need to do that. We should just push forward. and attack Brzeź. In fact, it might even be one of our secondary objectives. That's right. If we could take Brzeź by turn 2, that is a secondary objective completed. Not sure if we're going to get to it, but cool anyway. And once again, the game perfectly simulates the German tanks versus the Soviet tanks during Operation Barbarossa. Look at that. Look at that. Completely overran them. We're going to push through. We're going to destroy that unit completely. And if we get the follow-up attack, sadly we don't. I would have attacked once again. Leave not alive men. Alright. Eventually we're going to be able to move through with that cavalry unit as well and also assist in this great blitz. But for now, we just want to get across. Now, another thing we could do is build a pontoon bridge or alternatively bomb one of the enemy bridges so that they're not getting any supplies from that area. I think what we're going to do instead is continue pushing forward. Not going to worry too much about the enemy there. I just want to cut off road access. And of course, I want to take these bridges. There we go. Looking pretty great, guys. We are doing a number on the enemy infantry, and that's the idea here, is to, of course, use our infantry to deal the fatal blows to the guys trapped in the pockets. But first, we need to create those pockets, and that's going to, of course, take us taking these cities right across from the bridges. If we can get those, then, of course, we can freely move across instead of having to ford these rivers. That's just simply not that easy. Now, I'm really curious about that pontoon bridge ability. There's also an assault crossing ability, but I want to just see if we can drop the pontoon bridge, like, oh, man, that's awesome if this works. Let's drop one right there, and this should allow our guy to get through, or maybe we need to wait a turn. That is a possibility. Push these guys forward. No reason to attack here. It's just not going to come out in the wash, but we will keep advancing through these swamps. And I think it's about time, not quite yet, but about time to turn it over to Ivan here. So we've got plenty of other units here, plenty of mechanized units that would be extremely helpful. So I'm just trying to make as many dents in the enemy line as possible. And I think so far we are succeeding at that at least. Here we go, 2. Nice job. Can we get one more in there? Beautiful. I'm actually going to go for the kill on that unit. Once again, we're trying to destroy these guys piecemeal. If I could get to that road, well then, of course, we could cut off quite a large portion of their army. Man, I hope that pontoon bridge works. And maybe it only works for infantry. It might not work for actual tank units, which is another reason we need to get across here. So let's go ahead. We'll drop some bombs on the city itself. Brzeź. I'm even going to do the flying attack, of course. Really see if we can't hurt that guy. Pretty good, but of course, we're still attacking him with, let's say, not the greatest units in the world. So I'm thinking we might actually have to take a little bit of a loss here to be able to get a proper attack. Another thing I'd like to do, if possible, is use our HQ here to send some emergency supply. So let's send some emergency supply to that guy right there. Oh, no. Looks like we can't use our emergency supply. All right, fair enough. There we go. We want to take those prisoners, of course. Taking prisoners is definitely important here in Barbarossa. Yeah, I would kind of like to go for Grodno. And considering we can do some damage here with a pretty understrength unit, I'm taking this attack. There we go. We are getting closer and closer to Bialystok. Look at that, friends. I'm not going directly for it. I, of course, want to first cut the enemy off, and I want to make sure that we've got them cut off. In fact, we might even send this guy through. Or send one of these tanks through. I'm going to bring him back, actually, to assist us over here. Despite taking a loss, I am going to hit that unit. So again, don't always have to have the advantage if you do see an opportunity. And I'm going to try to send this tank over here to cut them off at Grodno. Again, I'm expecting the enemy to still have a lot of resistance, so not exactly expecting this to be a cakewalk. Man, Bialystok is pretty undefended here. If we could just get in there quickly. There's the city. Never mind. Not quite undefended. But we are going to try to push through with as many Wehrmacht soldiers as possible to start filling in these gaps, because I think the enemy could cut us off pretty damn quickly here. And they probably will. See, I want to at least take Bialystok. I was initially going to completely ignore this area, but now I see Lida back here with some supply. If we can break through there and take the supply, we of course cause a lot of trouble for the enemy as well. It's worth trying, I think. Alright, folks, ending the turn, turning it over to Ivan. I told you, despite being, of course, only 10 turns, this is going to take a lot longer than 10 minutes, let's put it that way. First of all... let's go across. We're going to take quite a beating for doing this, but I think exchanging some infantry for some tank units is well worth it. Might even move him out of here and go for a second attack. It's weird that we can't get into that particular area. And it could be because we've got stragglers in the area. Maybe with stragglers it doesn't allow you to move into that zone. One more turn and he should truly be completely out of supply. Let's see how Ivan responds to this. I'm expecting a pretty severe repercussion here. And of course, there are trucks currently outside the supply network. We know this. Nothing we can do about it. Supplies simply cannot extend all the way to your lines. That's never going to be the case unless you have enough supply trucks to allow that to happen. As you can see here, they're cutting us off. We're going to have to push through with the rest of the units, or else these guys are certainly in some trouble. Look at that. We've got another supply depot right there. In fact, we might even be able to get into Bialystok this turn, but I'm not going to push it. Look at that. They've completely sent everybody to defend Bialystok at this point. Operation Defend the City for sure. Another thing they did there that was quite smart is moving that Western HQ back. That's going to save them quite a lot of headaches there, because we could have tried to cut off that HQ, and that could have led to something. Now, at the very least, I think what we could do is assist in making the push through here. We could, of course, send in emergency supply, but to do that, they actually have to be close to us. You see what I'm saying? They have to be within our general site, so somewhere over here. A lot of these guys are not in that supply range, so let's see if we can't do something about that. See, we definitely have the ferocity to continue the attack, but not the supplies, sadly. So that's why I'm pulling back. And as long as we can remain in that line, or that conical sphere, in this case it's a conical sphere, it could be different in any case, that pretty much lets us know that the general is watching over this particular area, then we should be okay. We should be getting supplies, ammunition, fuel, etc. But if we're outside of that let's just call it the objective area. If we're outside of that objective area, then we aren't going to be getting absolutely anything, and eventually we can't fight at all, and we could be destroyed by a single attack. So we don't want that to happen. In the meantime, though, keep on pushing. I'm going to send him across here. I don't like to have enemies behind the line, so certainly as soon as we can, we do want to destroy that unit, and it looks like they left behind quite a few prisoners. I'll grab some on my way here. And you bet I'm going to go ahead and attack if it means destroying one of those tanks. And there we go. We also should have this guy in supply. If we check the supply screen, yeah, he is in supply. Alright, it also looks like we can push pretty far with these tanks. Let's hope this helps us with our push towards Bialystok. Alright, guys, look at this. We are just pushing through. We should be able to get right to the city and cut off every single one of these infantry units. Look at that. Ah, we've got some ambushers waiting in the wings, waiting in the forest for us to slip up, no doubt. Brzec is still not under our control, but keep in mind we don't necessarily need to take Brzec. It would just, I think, improve our chances at victory here, really. I'm pretty sure there's also a point there, if I'm not mistaken. Let's drop some bombs. Oh, baby. That's what we needed. The fort is in ruins, so sadly there was no supply or anything like that there, but still nice to take a city, and we can actually keep the attack going with the 34th Infantry Division, and look at that. Just wonderful. A work of art, truly, guys. Gonna make sure that these guys are not a threat at all. And we'll also check supply to see if these tanks remain in supply range. I think they actually might. Look at that, guys. We are so close. Bialystok lies right across the river there, but it looks like we've absolutely trapped these guys. It's only a little bit more of a push to take Bialystok and then onwards to Minsk. This should be an interesting fight. If you guys want to see the end of this one, please let me know in the comments down below. I want to thank everybody for stopping by to watch this early look at Unity of Command 2's Barbarossa DLC, and I definitely recommend picking it up. A whole lot of fun, a whole lot of scenarios. You guys are soon about to see that, and just some good old-fashioned gameplay. So again, if you want to see this battle conclude, let me know and we'll make it happen. Thank you so much, my friends.